Hi, Steve Arterburn here. Thanks for joining me for Going Deeper, and we've gone deeper into the world of procrastination. The previous video I did yesterday was all about why we procrastinate and how to not ever procrastinate again. The key, it was the answer. But to get to that, to develop a desire to solve the procrastination problem, maybe it would be helpful if we could take a moment and ask ourselves, how does this procrastination thing benefit me? Why do I choose that way of dealing with life and procrastinate? What is the benefit? So I've listed some potential benefits that you might have in your head that keep you procrastinating. Well, maybe procrastination helps you sort out what's really important to you. So you don't do anything because you're trying to figure out what's the most important thing. And by the time you figure out what's the most important thing, maybe it's already passed. The opportunity isn't there anymore. So the benefit of trying to figure out the most important thing could be solved by developing a priority sheet where you list all the things you need to do and then you put a date by them, or you list them A, B, and C. C, if I never get around to it, no problem. B, I need to set it out in maybe a month or 2 months. And then that A list, I need to be working on checking those things off right now. Maybe it helps you avoid the issues and situations that could be painful or embarrassing, shameful, or difficult. Well, what a great thing. You've got procrastination. So I'll never be ashamed or embarrassed or difficult. I have a 14-year-old son. You know what his goal in life is? Never be humiliated. I said, well, that could really be a problem because it could prevent you from taking a risk because you don't want to be humiliated. Well, sometimes it just sinks us down into the procrastinating mode because we don't want to take a risk because we're afraid we might not look well. When I was young, I was a music major, and I went to this university in the summer to a music camp. I had on a white shirt and white pants and white shoes. I wasn't exactly the best at fashion, but I liked white, and I had it on. We were in the cafeteria eating, and a big, huge plate of red spaghetti fell right into my lap. I put my elbow on the table of the tray, and it just dumped it right there. So what did I do? Well, rather than act humiliated, I acted like I meant to do that. I began to eat the spaghetti off of my shirt and my pants, perfectly clean. People began to laugh. When I was done, I got up and walked out like there was no problem whatsoever. So I learned to make being embarrassed and humiliated work for me. And we can do that rather than avoid anything that might make us look ridiculous. Here's what I think makes you look ridiculous. You have all this talent and potential, and people insult you by saying, you sure have a lot of potential. What does that mean? You've never done anything, but one day you sure might. That's not good. I don't like having to listen to that. So when we procrastinate, we might be able to cover up a flaw that we have. Maybe you don't like going to parties where there's dancing. And so you procrastinate and put off, and you're always late. And, there's something you could do about that. If you don't want to look ridiculous dancing, because that's not a skill of yours, you could take a dance class. I've taken dance classes, and it's really a fun thing once you finish and learn how to dance, rather than look dumb or stupid or irresponsible because you show up late to everything and people kind of look at you weird. And maybe they don't even ask you to stuff because they know you're going to be late. Well, maybe procrastinating is helping you remain in the comfort of the familiar, avoiding failure or the changes associated with possible failure. We get addicted to sameness and predictability. And if you do that, well, the horrible risk that you take is that everything is the same and it's not very exciting and it's kind of boring, and you just numb yourself into a very, very mundane existence. I remember a woman who was procrastinating going to the doctor to check on a lump that she had on her breast. The reason that she had procrastinated is because she had developed a really nice case of agoraphobia, and her world had become her neighborhood, and then it became her yard and her home. Then it became her home, and then the only place she felt safe was in her bedroom. When she told me that story about seeking safety, I said, well, you'll never be totally safe. And that's when she said, yeah, I have a lump, and I'm too afraid to get out of the bedroom to go to the doctor. I said, perfect. You know you need to go to the doctor. You're not denying that, right? Right. You know you can't do it on your own, right? Right. So when we can't do something on our own, all we have to do is ask for help from somebody that will help us do it. So who would help you get there? Who would come over, help you get dressed, be with you the whole way, drive you there, drive you back. She knew somebody, and I got a little card a few days later. Hey, the lump was nothing. Thank you for encouraging me. So we have to work through all of these things that we see as benefits, such as everything stays the same. If I just stay and don't do anything I'm not comfortable with. Here's another reason that people procrastinate. Maybe somebody's told you to do something, and you need to do it because they're your boss or supervisor or, I don't know, somebody that's important to you. And you know what you do to show that they don't have control of you? You don't do it, or you put it off. And you say, well, one day I will. I tell women all the time, once you tell a man to do something and he puts it on his to-do list, you don't have to nag him to do it. Every 6 months he'll look at that list and decide what he's going to do. Okay, so what I'm saying is, a lot of times men might resist doing things because they don't want to be controlled, because mommy controlled them, and the woman, the wife, now is taking mommy's place. Well, she's not really, but it feels that way to him. So maybe a little therapy, and we get a few things done around the house. Maybe that's what the benefit is. All right. Maybe it provides you with a buffer between who you are and ever discovering the abilities that you have. Because maybe you're afraid, I'm not going to live up to what some other people are, or I have a standard that's not quite good enough standard. And so you just never want to figure it out. And so you never try, you never experience everything that you can. And maybe procrastination puts you under pressure so you will finally function in the high stress mode using fear and adrenaline as your fuel. That's what I see people in kind of the middle stages of procrastination, is they're still coming up against, okay, I got to get it done. And boy, all of that adrenaline and stress and stuff comes on, and you get it done eventually. But the danger of that is one day the adrenaline quits pumping, and then you don't ever get it done. And then you're really disappointed in your life. We don't want that for you. There is a Yiddish proverb that says, he that lies upon the ground cannot fall. That is why a lot of people procrastinate. They don't want to fall. Many of them don't want to get up because it's risky. I don't know what it is that causes you to procrastinate, but the more you look at the benefits that are actually the detrimental things in procrastinating, the more you look at that, then the greater the chance you can eliminate it and start to set the deadlines for yourself that prevent you from procrastinating. All right, next time I'm going to talk about choices, and I think you'll like it. So join me then. In the meantime, if you need some help, just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.